back to the most professional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Burkle, here on the coast today. Aaron, go and say hi, Aaron.
Hi.
All right, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Other than that, go ahead and get into it. So, in this video, we'll be taking a look at the most recent buzz in the NFL free agency world. A couple huge things taking place these last couple days. Some big name dudes getting franchise tagged. A couple big name dudes getting multiple year deals, and then some other big name dudes getting cut and waived by their respective teams. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, I guess we'll start off with kind of the guys that got franchise tagged around the league recently. A couple of the big names that stick out. We got Michael Pittman Jr., obviously the receiver out of Indianapolis. You got Jalen Johnson, cornerback for Chicago. Josh Allen, edge rusher for the Jaguars. Justin Matabuke, defensive tackle for the Baltimore Ravens. Antoine Winfield Jr., the free safety for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then I think the last one is L'Jarius Sneed. Yeah, L'Jarius Sneed, cornerback for the Kansas City Chiefs. So, and Brian Burns for the Carolina Panthers. So, Aaron, out of that list of names, what do you feel is kind of like the most significant? Oh, and T. Higgins, too. I forgot about him because we did a video about him. But out of those names, Aaron, which do you think is the most significant as far as like team success? And I guess who do you think's most likely to get the long-term deal that they're looking for their respective franchise?
Pittman, I think,
That's fair.
kind of
That's fair.
for both of those. I mean, he's not only is he a number one, he's probably a top 10 wide receiver in the league. Um, and being there in for their young developing quarterback Richardson, or if, God forbid he gets, hurt again early next season. Uh, I don't know if they're planning on sticking with Minshew or what that whole situation looks like. Um, but yeah, he's a very important piece to that organization. So I'd expect him to kind of get that long term deal, and he's probably the most kind of crucial part um, as far as these other guys go.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to bring up something about the whole Pittman tag. It is the non-exclusive franchise tag that the Colts have placed on him. Do you think that's essentially just because they don't want to outbid themselves? Or do you think they would be comfortable letting him walk away if that cap number reaches a certain level?
I think that they just couldn't get a deal done before the tag deadline,
Mm,
so they wanted to make sure that he was, you know, on the team at least.
no, that's fair. Okay.
So I think they're quickly looking to kind of get an extension done.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot of what the non-exclusive tag typically signifies or anything like that, so I'm just completely kind of just going off of what I know it is, and I know that that means he can negotiate with other teams. So, and I do know some teams do use that as like, yeah, go out and see what you can find, and we'll just match it. So, um, I think another big one that's kind of come out of this class. I mean, obviously, Michael Pittman Jr. is the number one receiver and all that. I think the Jags keeping Josh Allen is really big, um, because if they're gonna want any success of being a contender in the AFC, they need somebody who can rush the passer, specifically rush Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert, maybe, or any of those other Josh Allen, any of those other big name quarterbacks in the AFC. You got to have a guy that can stop them. And Josh Allen is one of probably the best edge rushers in the league right now. Um,
Josh Allen was the D end, not Josh Allen the
yeah,
quarterback.
yeah. Well, and watching Josh Allen, the D end tackle Josh Allen, the quarterback, is fun. Because it's just Allen on Allen violence. So, um, but no, Josh Allen for the Jacksonville Jaguars, uh, kind of made a name for himself down there as being one of the best edge rushers in the league. And I think that's a vital part of the team these days, especially in the AFC where you've got those top tier quarterbacks. So I think that's kind of my um, underrated franchise tagging, the most important one from an underrated standpoint. I think is Josh Allen. Um, One I got right though, Antoine Winfield Jr. I knew that the Bucs would find any way possible to bring that guy back. He is just a stud in the secondary. So happy to see him get hopefully what is the beginning of working towards a long term deal with the Bucs because he deserves it. He's one of the better free safeties in the league for sure, in my opinion. So, uh, and if you're looking at the guys that got released, we can go ahead and take a look at the guys that got released in the last few days. Couple significant names. You got Marquez Valdez-Scantling for the Kansas City Chiefs. Uh, Big reason.
Not a real surprise there.
Not a real surprise there. I know some people are upset that we didn't cut Tony instead. Uh, Guys, Tony wouldn't have saved us money. Cutting MVS saves us $12 million. So that's really what it was about at the end of the day. Yeah, his production didn't help by any means. His drops didn't help by any means. But the main reason we cut the dude is because $12 million was just more than what we considered him being worth right now. So that one makes sense as a Chiefs fan. The Eagles cutting Kevin Byard is interesting. But they do clear up $13.7 million of cap space by doing that, so I could see the incentive behind it being that. Alexander Mattison getting cut by the Vikings, only clearing up a little bit, 3.35 million cap, but with the inevitable Justin Jefferson contract staring him in the face, it kind of makes sense that they're trying to clear some stuff up for him. Who else? Oh, and then you got a plethora of guys up in Seattle with Jamal Mosley, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, and Will Dissly all getting cut, which saves a collective what looks to be about 20 something odd $1 million in cap space. So probably a move in the future for Seattle coming up, I guess. Maybe try to go get, I don't know, another big piece for that offense to kind of help out Geno Smith or Drew Lock. Yeah, what do you think was kind of your most surprising wave of this period? If you had to, and then Jonnu Smith also got cut by the Falcons, which is kind of interesting because they didn't really need to save on cap room. Almost makes you think maybe they're trying to bring in like a Kirk Cousins. So, yeah, what was the most surprising release for you out of these names? Or is there a guy I didn't mention?
I mean, there's Russell Wilson.
No, sure, yeah, I forgot about him.
The obvious one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kevin Byard kind of doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I think they were. I mean, now granted, I don't know if this would have saved them money, but I think there are some other DBs that they probably could have looked to move on from to improve as a team at. And then kind of Seattle going
Nuclear.
all in on
Yeah.
all in today. That was kind of surprising. I can see Jamal Adams. He hasn't really played a whole lot. Hadn't looked the same as he did with
Yeah, he's taking a step
the
back.
Jets and has been hurt the last couple of years.
And then Quandre Diggs is on the wrong side of 30, so that one kind of makes sense as well, I suppose, if you think of it in that aspect. Once those DBs get over 30, man, it's hard to stick around in this league. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I think the most surprising. I don't know. They all kind of make sense when you actually look into it. That's the thing. Um, I mean, I guess if I had to pick one though, it'd probably be Alexander Mattison, just because you're not clearing up a whole lot of cap space. I feel like there's other guys you could have cut and cleared up more cap space if it's like a ploy to make room for that Jefferson contract. Uh, and also, it clearly indicates that they're probably going to draft a running back because Cam Akers is a free agent. So I would assume if they're releasing Mattison to save a little over 3 mil, they're not planning on bringing Akers back either. So definitely an interesting move by Minnesota that I kind of think shows you their hand this draft. That they're probably going to look at. I don't think they'll take one in the first round. Taking a running back in the top 15 picks is kind of frowned upon nowadays. Unless it's, I mean, even if it is like a Saquon Barkley, I mean, look how far that's gotten the Giants. So, or Derrick Henry, because I mean, like, the Titans didn't really do a whole lot with Derrick Henry either. So, I'd be surprised to see
That
them
wasn't
take
his
it.
fault though.
No, it wasn't. But that's my point. Is like a running back can't carry a team like a quarterback can. So, I don't think they'll take a running back with their first pick, but I could maybe see them look towards Blake Corum's way in the second. It'll be interesting. Really curious as to see what the Vikings are going to do from there after cutting Mattison. But and lastly, we got a couple big signings that's happened in the last few days. Mike Evans obviously being the most substantial one. That's probably what's going to be the title and thumbnail of this video is Mike Evans signs extension or re-signs with the Bucs or whatever. But yeah, Mike Evans comes to an agreement with the Falcons on a 2-year, $52 million deal. Dude, it's getting paid. And I said this immediately. I was so stoked when that happened. One, because good for Baker, to have that consistent number one wide receiver for another 2 years at least. But as a Chiefs fan, I was over the moon that we were not about to pay a wide receiver 25 million fucking dollars after letting.
Especially after getting rid of Tyreek and
Yeah,
not paying him that type of
exactly.
money.
Exactly. That was the main thing. Is like Tyreek asked for essentially the same thing, maybe a couple more. And we traded him, but now we're gonna bring in a dude who's older, probably a little worse, and doesn't know the system for the same money. It just didn't make sense to me, so thank gosh those rumors were wrong. Um what are your kind of thoughts on the whole Mike Evans situation?
Good for him getting paid, and good for Tampa Bay. I mean, that's obviously a big get if they plan to stick with Baker long term.
Yeah, for at least the
Um,
next few.
he's a good receiver, a little continuity. Probably look to bring in some young receiver talent here pretty soon because they've got a pretty old receiver core, kind of an old team in general.
Yeah,
Um, but he hasn't looked like he's slowing down. I don't think he's had less than 1,000 yards receiving
never.
in a year in his entire career, which is amazing.
Neither did Kelsey up until
Um,
this year and his rookie year, but we don't count that.
so yeah, it's a good get for them.
No, yeah, I think it's a great move for the Bucs. They're able to do a lot more than I think a lot of people anticipated them being able to do with the cap situation they were in. So happy to see they're able to, the mainstay, bringing back the mainstays like a Mike Evans and Antoine Winfield is what's cool. Like bringing back those guys that have been there the entire careers. That's the cool part about this. I feel like because you don't see that very often these days, where especially a receiver gets to this point in his career and he's played his entire time with one franchise. That's awesome. Um,
They've got two more that they've got to work out though.
yeah, with Levante David and Devin White, those are some big names that they could
Hmm.
potentially still lose. So yeah, still got some work to do, but it's nice to see that the Bucs were able to at least get a couple of those dudes back that they were probably going to lose. We all thought. And then the other big signing, Dalton Schultz, not quite as big as the Mike Evans story, but he gets a nice little 3-year, $36 million deal. Big story, 23.5 million of that is fully guaranteed, which is really good for him. Um, Especially playing a position like tight end where, when you're going between blocking and then running routes over the middle as often as tight, especially like Dalton Schultz does, the risk for injury is high. Um, so good for him to get most of that fully guaranteed. Uh, I don't really have much to say about the situation. I like Dalton Schultz. Just wanted to mention it. Good for him. And I think he's a really good tight end for the Texans to keep around for CJ Stroud. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, Schultz was one of Dak's favorite targets while he was
Mm-hmm.
there with the Cowboys, and I like him. He did have a couple injuries with the Cowboys, if
He
I'm
did. I think leg
remembering correctly.
specifically.
But yeah, this is a great get for them, I think,
Yeah. Yeah. Happy
or
that
great
CJ.
keep, I guess.
Yeah. Happy CJ Stroud's gonna have another receiver, pass catcher that's gonna be with him consistently for the next 3 years or so. He's already got Tank Dell and oh geez, what's the other Nico Collins? Goodness gracious. Already got Tank Dell and Nico Collins, so to be able to keep Dalton Schultz along with those two, I think is just gonna be great for the Texans moving forward. So, but I think that kind of does it for all the free agency update. You got anything else? If not, then I think that'll do it for this episode of the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circle Burkle, here with the coast today, Aaron. Go and say bye, Aaron.
Bye.
All right, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Other than that, deuces.